Hey! Oh my god. Oh my days. Oh my days. What am I reading here? Geremi files for divorce after finding out that he raised twins that were never his children in the whole 12 years of his marriage. Oh, I'm done. Oh my days. Hi there, guys, and welcome back to another episode of A Dash of Sports. I'll be your host and presenter, Dashiki Dash, and this is where I bring you all things sports related, hot topics, and trending stories. And do I have a story for you? Oh! Anyway, before I get into it, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Smash that like button, comment, and make sure that you press the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of my shows. And without further ado, let me jump straight into it. So, who remembers ex-Premier League player, ex-Chelsea player, Geremi, former Cameroon international, Geremi? The story that I'm reading right now has blown my mind. Straight out of an episode of Maury, Jerry Springer, Ricky Lake, you name it. This is absolutely mad. Let me just jump straight into it. Ex-Chelsea player Geremi files for divorce over paternity fraud. Now, that doesn't really sound as juicy as it's going to get right now. Just know that you've been in a marriage with your wife for 12 years, had 2 kids, twins at that, and to find out they're not even yours. That's mad. The 45-year-old has been married to Laure Fotso. Sorry if I butchered your name, for over a decade now. So when I heard this story, I was like, bruh, this is actually mad. But the question I wanted to ask is like, how do you get to find out that after a decade and some change, 12 years of marriage, to then come and find out that those kids are not yours? That is mad. And this is what I always say, man. Like, if your kids don't look like you, it's a risky business out here. But like, how did it come about? Like, what transpired during that marriage that led to the point where Geremi was just like, nah, man, I need to find out if these kids are mine. So to give you a bit of backstory, Geremi and his wife, like I said, they've been married for 12 years, but 4 years prior to them getting married, they had the kids. So they had their children, which obviously prompted them to get married. Jeremy was like, boy, like, these are my kids, innit? So let's get married. But this is where it gets a bit mad. Although they were together, and Jeremy's thinking to himself, yeah, these are my kids, his missus was still dealing with her ex. So in the midst that they were having their relationship, she was still, creeping. She was still stepping out. But for him to then find out that these are not his kids, it came with its, relationships in it, ups and downs. But what Geremi was noticing, there was a lot of lies. She was acting a bit funny within the relationship, a lot of deceit, a lot of lies, which then prompted to the whole aspect of Geremi obviously accusing her of stepping out. And then once you start doing that, then you start dialing things back in it. You start thinking to yourself, right, like, are these kids mine even? Like, if you're telling me that, or if I'm finding out that you've been dealing with your ex, like, I need to double check. So then he goes and does the test. And boy, normally, Maury will be crying out, you are the father. But on this occasion, you are not. I shouldn't even be laughing, man. This is actually sad. Can you imagine a whole 12 years of raising your kids? I don't even know if they're 12 years old, but, for a period of time, let's just say it's 10 years, 12 years, whatever. It could be a year, 2 years, for whatever length of time that you are thinking to yourself, to you, those are your kids. And then to discover that, through a DNA test, to get that dreaded letter to tell you that you ain't the father, that is it's heartbreaking, man. Real heartbreaking. Now this has gone to court and everything, so it's official, and it's been reported that he's been left in a real emotional shock, and you can't even be surprised by that. That is absolutely mad. And what do you do now? What would you do? That's the question I want to ask you guys. Like, men out there, what would you do? Like after a period of time that you think to yourself that these are your kids, you've raised them, they call you dad, your families, cousins, um, your grandparents, if they're still alive, and all of that kind of aunties, uncles. You go to family functions, family holidays. Everybody knows you as the family member in it. Everybody knows for you to having those kids as your kids, and then for you to then discover that they're not your children. What do you do next? What do you do? Man, I'm just thinking about it. I'm just like, man, if that happened to me, yeah, that's I don't even know what to say right now. It's mad. Sorry, I'm just reading on, and the more I'm reading on about this, it's really pulling at my heartstrings. So the kids were born in 2008. They get married in 2012. All right. And then obviously up until now, he's raised. We're in 2024, by the way. If you didn't know, he's raising these kids to then find out that they're not his. Oh man. How how evil do you need to be? I don't know. Did she know or she didn't know? Like, at what point as a woman do you kind of make this apparent? Or was she absolutely sure that they were Jeremy's? Now, the more I've been reading and the stuff that I've been hearing, it wasn't the first time, that she was, doing her thing. I believe, obviously, at the beginning of the relationship or whatever, she was still dealing with her ex. Some way through the relationship, she was, was continuing to deal with her ex. And this is what brought the turmoil within the relationship. So it's just like, ah, yeah. This is. I thought it was gonna be easy to talk about this. I came on there just kind of joking about whatever. But the more you actually think about it, the more heart wrenching it is for this story. And yo, man, I feel for Geremi, man. I really do feel for Geremi, the former Chelsea, and Real Madrid as well. Played for Real Madrid, Cameroon international. You know, uh, feel sorry for him, man. I really do. You know what else is sad in this situation? You know what else is sad? The kids, man. It's the kids. These are innocent kids, who will consider Geremi their father, their dad. I don't think that should ever change, to be fair. Maybe easy for me to kind of say from this side, but those kids will always consider Geremi their dad. I don't, I'm sure Geremi would still consider these kids as his own, although biologically they're not his by blood. But yeah, the saddest situation out of this whole mess, this scandal, is the fact those kids are going to be suffering with the notion of knowing that Jeremy's not their dad. Obviously, Geremi suffering because he's been lied to. And without being privy to the full story, the ins and outs, but as it looks right now, the ex-wife, yo, oh, this is horrible, man. This is a real howler right now. And yeah, I don't know how this is gonna be repaired, but sending big time healing over to you lot side. God bless you guys. And at the midst of all of this, hopefully there's real healing that goes on, and you know, the kids can continue with the rest of their life without the, you know, the trauma. You know what I mean? And you know, they can have a fruitful life and, you know, a loving life. As long as they're loved, that's the main thing, innit? That is the main thing. But let me know, man. Let me know what you think, man. The question I want to ask right now: was the ex-wife wrong for not telling Geremi about the situation? And then in regards to Geremi, you know, men out there, fathers, what would you do? What would you do in this situation? Would you still consider these kids as yours, although then, you know, biologically they're not yours? Or would you just walk away and just be like, boy, I've been done, and try and continue with your life somehow? It's gonna be very, very difficult either way. But yeah, man, let me know, man. Put your comments down below. Let me know.